I wanted to share something from a conversation I had a couple of hours ago with somebody. Now, I'm going to change the details, some of the details on this anyway, so that um, while I've got the person's permission to make a video on this and to share, it's obviously quite sensitive. So I'm going to change some of the details that no one else would know that it's about this person. So that's a quick disclaimer. But there's a moral to this story, and it's why I thought it was really worthwhile to share. So here on the flip chart, um, you'll see a very rough sketch of a proposal, a business proposal, which that is what it says here in blue, if you're able to see the color on the flip chart here. And just here, where I was hiding it just now, is a human eye. And that is to signify how things look to us. So here's the story. There's a company I've been doing some work with. Um, so they're individual contributors as a team across the Asia Pacific, but also the America region as well. And in the America region, there's been a team of six, seven people. There's a new starter now, seven, but it's six when I started working with this division of the company. And we had a series of group trainings, webinars, and also then followed up by three one-to-ones with each person, coaching sessions with me, and really designed to help bring out their best in the way that they connect with their business to business clients, the way they make compelling proposals, everything that makes the business to business relationship work for both parties, the client side also and the supplier side. So everyone grows and everyone is more thrilled and delighted. And it was an interesting conversation I had with one of the people in that division who is an individual contributor who has been doing really well, but is often discouraged, is often fighting a lot of overthinking and complexity in their own mind. And I'm going to use the pronoun him in this one, okay? And that doesn't mean it's true, okay? But I'm going to say his and him for this one. And we were talking specifically about today about a proposal that he has out with a client right now. And it's a significant size to him. It's over half his annual target is out currently um, with this potential new piece of work from a client that they've done some work with over the years. But this is by far the biggest thing that this business may well have done with them. And it was noteworthy when I was talking with him this morning, the client manager, the account manager, if you like, how caught up he was. So we talked a bit about it. And he said, I'm really lacking clarity right now. And last night, and we talked very early his time today. So last night I haven't really slept, and it's not worried about seeing you at all. I'm really worried about what's going to happen with this proposal. So what do you mean? Well, I think I slept about an hour and a half. We hear tomorrow. We think we're going to hear tomorrow anyway, whether we win this piece of business or not. And I'm listening and I'm looking for reasons why it's worthy for this person, my client, to be worried to such an extent that they're losing their bearings and they're not sleeping well. Because the one thing that's probably suspicious in my mind, I know for a fact that it's not the proposal that's causing this person to be overthinking and feeling so bad and anxious and worried about what might happen. It's how it looks. It's how it looks to them. And the reason that that is blaringly obvious is if the proposal was sent, and it was sent over a week ago now, I think it was sent about 8 days ago. So they had, they said they would get back to them within 10 days, the end of this business week. If that proposal was sent last week, then how on earth is it causing this human being I was talking to be worried now? As it was a Wednesday night, his time. coming into Thursday morning. So to me, that's obvious that it cannot be the proposal, it cannot be this that's causing the feeling, because this isn't there, physically there, when this person's worried about it and not sleeping. Now, it will look over here like this is the cause of me not sleeping. But it can't be if it isn't there. If the proposal isn't right there in front of us, or the client isn't there right in front of us, it can't be the cause. And you might think, well, okay, well, that's obvious. Yes, it is. And still, what we often do as human beings is forget the fact that it's here, it's my seeing that causes the feeling. My thinking causes the feeling, not the event, not the thing, not this proposal over here that's making me do anything. And it's not the decision of the client either, because they haven't made it yet. And given the fact it was 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., when my client was wide awake and worrying about it, then it must have been a feeling caused by what's going on in their head. Here's why it matters. We think because it looks like this stuff, and in this example, a proposal or the yes no decision from the client, it looks like that is the cause of how I feel on the inside, then it makes sense that when I get this right, when all of my ducks in a row, when the business is growing, then I will feel okay. And because here we are at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and there's uncertainty out there in the world, we don't know what's going to happen here. All of a sudden, that's why I'm feeling anxious. But here's the secret. I'm responding to what I am thinking in the moment, nothing to do with a proposal. Now, the reason that this matters, which I'll come on to again, is that I heard another business last week. Well, in fact, it was Monday this week, and I was talking with the co-owner in a partnership, a two-people partnership. And the previous Friday, last Friday, they won their biggest contract ever. Their biggest contract, and they've been in existence for, I think it's 9 years now since they formed their business. And they've just won their biggest contract and had the confirmation call on the Friday morning. And instantly there was this feeling of euphoria, followed by a feeling of hollowness, followed by well, angst would be one way of saying it. And by the end of the morning, this business partner that I talked to as one my client was really feeling anxious, worried, troubled. What have we done now that we've got this? Oh my Lord, this is all going to go horribly wrong, because that's what was in this person's mind. And then what happened, because he thought, well, I thought I'd feel great now that we've won this, because, it secures our future for pretty much the next 4 years as a business. We can pay the bills, actually grow the business, hire more people, and it's got our cash flow right for the next 4 years. I should feel great about this consistently. I don't. And then, because the feeling wasn't matching how he expected to feel, he got himself in such a tiz. And from what he said to me on Monday, it pretty much wrecked his weekend. And what was fascinating is that he said he was more worried on Sunday going back to work, having won the business, than how he felt the Sunday before, not knowing if they'd win the business or not. So, okay, so what's my point? In the video I made last week, I shared this notion of that how we feel on the inside does not come from anything outside of us. Our life circumstances, it doesn't come from the future because the future isn't here. And it can't come from the past because, again, the past isn't here. It's from what we think right now. Or really, the relationship to what we think right now causes our emotions in the present moment and nothing else. ever, full stop, as human beings. And it will really look different to that. And I had to see this for myself because it took me probably about 6 months of studying that for me to keep bumping into the truth of it, that really how I feel is from what I think right now, and to what extent what I think right now looks real, permanent, true, and my ability to take it personally. And the great thing with that is that you might be thinking, well, does that mean I shouldn't care about these? No, it doesn't mean not care about it. But it also doesn't mean care too much about it where it troubles us. This is where the conversation went with the person I first brought up at the beginning of this video, where he's been so concerned, like at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock this very morning, that he said, if they don't say yes to this, I think I'll kill myself. Now, I'm not saying that lightly. It is really what I heard this person say, and they broke down, broke down in tears on the video call with me. Now, here's why I think I am qualified to talk about this. I know what depression is like. I've had it a number of times in my life, up until, I don't know, fairly recently was the last time I had it, recently in my life anyway. So probably up until about 13, 14 years ago. I struggled with it various times since I was very, very young. And had a proper breakdown in my mid 30s because the stuff of my life no longer met up to my expectations, and I got really concerned about everything in my life and felt a failure and felt this, and I did have suicidal thoughts. What I did not know at the time was all of that stuff was happening in my head, and it didn't make my head broken. It didn't make me wrong to think and feel it. It didn't make me wrong to feel or think anything. Human beings think things, and we think what we think is really real. And when we're in really low quality thinking and in a low mood, it looks more real to us. And it looks like even more that the stuff of life is the cause of what we feel inside when we're in a low mood. So it wasn't, and while I hate the idea of anybody taking anything so seriously, especially about a piece of work, that if they don't say yes, I'll harm myself. What matters to me, and in our conversation, which thankfully this person really heard and relaxed, and then they said, "This is an important thing. Can you share this as long as you protect my identity?" So I have. The worse we feel, the more out of whack our thinking is. And it doesn't mean that we are out of whack, it's our thinking that's out of whack. The way that we're perceiving life, our eyes are all muddied up. We have no clarity. We have no perspective. And how we know is that the feeling tells us, because no new piece of business is worth anything that will make us forget our bearings to that extent. And and I don't know what you're making of this now, obviously, as you're watching and listening to me on video. But if you or anyone else that you know has ever struggled with thinking that they are a failure, thinking that they need to get everything right in order to feel something good and worthy about themselves on the inside, then the only message I have to say is that no, your value is already in place. You're already here, already valuable, already precious, already whole, even when you think you're not. And the good news in my mind, in the work that I do these days, is that when people really get a sense of that and really see the truth of that for themselves, then their minds are really free to write great proposals, to be present in a meeting, to enjoy their work with an unburdened, free mind. And the great thing is, the human mind is at its best when it's unburdened, at its best when it's free to do what a mind will do. We don't need to control it, we don't need to manage it. Left to its own devices, it does fine. And sometimes it can trick us that it looks like our circumstances are what determine how we feel inside, or even as far off as our circumstances determine our innate value as a human being. It's not true, it's just the way that it looks to us. And the great news is, when the mind is left to its own devices and it's underneath the noise of what thought taken personally, seriously, can do, when it is free, we feel great and we do better. So enjoyment and doing a great job go hand in hand. Employee well-being and performance, they're not one or the other. They're intrinsically linked. And whether this is helping you personally or just helping somebody else that you might want to share this with, I hope there's been something in this for you that's been somewhat meaningful. And if there is, please message me. And if you want to understand more, again, please message me. I'm very pleased to say that the relief and the tears of relief that hit my client's face as I saw his face on the video call this morning, he then refound his bearings and then regained perspective, which we all do. And any feeling that we've got is that there's hopelessness, or that I am a waste of ... fill in the blanks. That feeling is telling us one thing: our thinking is off right now. It doesn't tell us anything more meaningful than that, and our thinking is off right now, and our thinking will just settle. And then we're back to seeing everything in life, work and everything else, back in the perspective it deserves, with clearer minds and clearer eyes. Have a good day.